right, gals, here we go. Oh, good girl Savannah and good girl Peggy. Good girl. Woo! What do we got, guys? We got Toyota, C8 Corvette, Blazer, 2020 Duramax, Lamborghini right here, Corvette over there, but we're taking Dodge Viper. I know, I can hardly believe it myself. A Dodge Viper, but actually not a Dodge Viper, an SRT Viper. Why they went from Dodge to just SRT for the Viper in 2013, I still don't get it, but either way, the car is awesome and it's here. Good morning and welcome to the channel. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day as always. Yes, we are about to jump right in to the V10 Viper content, but first, the Hellcat giveaway is over. So we have all the entries, we got all the data. We're gonna be sending it out to our third-party company. They pick a winner and they will have one for us in about 10 days. And then we will be calling one of you to tell you you won the Tiger King Hellcat. So keep an eye on my Instagram, on YouTube. Again, we will have a winner really, really soon. And now, Viper. Where do we do a cold start on the Viper? Because not the back, I mean, I guess the side. Okay, here we go. POV hat engaged, and I want to start off by talking about what I don't like about the car. This is not actually like really related to the mechanical vehicle, but the things I want to change on the car right now, because I know people love to mention like what they want to see happen to it. I don't actually know if I can get out here. I think I can. I parked my truck a little close here. Number one, the wheels. Not a big fan of the wheels. Those gotta go. They're not bad looking, but I think they're a little small. It's an 18 front, 19 back. For reference, C7 Corvette has a 19 front, 20 back, and I think that's what I'm going to do on the Viper. So I don't not a huge fan of the wheels. They gotta go. And I'm thinking like either satin black or gloss black. I don't like the fact that they're like a gray. Not my thing. Ooh, look at the Abarth. Cool camo. Wheels are number one on my list. Also on my list is some type of spoiler. Now, I don't think I'm gonna go ACR wing, even though that would be cool, but I feel like the ACR wing is a little too like try hard. You know, like I wouldn't put a ZR1 wing on a Z06, so I'm not going to put an ACR wing on a GTS. I'm not going to do it, but I will put on that little like extra lip that the TA has. I think that's really cool and I love it. Last thing I don't like, so it's not many. I don't have many complaints. Only 3. But the last one is the stripes. I don't like the stripes. They gotta go. I hate stripes on a car. If I had to have stripes on a car, the Viper might be the car I'd pick. But I don't like stripes. I think stripes are so like, I don't know. It's so trashy and like corny. I don't like stripes at all. So stripes gotta go. Luckily, they're vinyl and they'll come right off. Viper's wild. That's the thing. For stock, the Viper is a wild, wild car. They used to call this thing the Widowmaker. Now, the new one has stability control, traction control. The new one's a little bit more tame, but it's still it's an animal, and it's a different animal than a Corvette. You know, like a C7 Z06 and this have similar power, similar weight, but somehow the Viper is way more of an animal. New wheels, stripes are gone, and a wing will be on the car, and an exhaust. You guys know already, it's gotta be louder. It's pretty loud, but it ain't loud enough. Weird, I have an 8.4 liter V10. That's right, guys, 8.4 liters of freedom and an 8.4 liter V10. So I don't know why I don't get great gas mileage. So I think you have to press like a little button or something here, because that doesn't just come off. Let's see here. Got to be a gas button somewhere. Where is it? Huh. Pedal adjustment. Don't actually know. Ugh. Huh. I don't actually know where the gas button is. I've never had to do this before, but I've got the manual. This is Viper ownership day one. It's not going well. Fuel filler door release in the driver door map pocket, right there. Oh, there it is. I gotta admit, I don't think I would have found that, but that's why you have the owner's manual. It's like really hidden in there. It's a little quirk. Doug, where are you at? I need you for that. Maybe he talked about it.
I've been watching you for a long time.
Appreciate it. Just picked up the Viper last night. Yeah. Manual only.
There's one in almost town.
A Viper?
Yeah.
Really? Wow. Done filling up. So we were just about empty and we put in 12 gallons. I'm gonna guess the Viper has a 14-gallon tank, I think, maybe. 14-gallon tank. So with me driving, we should be able to make it about 28 miles before we have to fill up again. Pretty good. And as you can see, the Viper does attract some attention. You will get some attention in a Viper. You know, people love these cars, and they're not common at all. They're, at least not where I live. Don't see them at all. Whereas pretty much anywhere in the country you go, you can drive around, and if it's a nice day, 15 minutes goes by, you'll see at least one Corvette. But you don't see Vipers you might go a whole month without seeing a Viper or more. I love the way it drives. Drove a second-gen Viper and a third-gen Viper. I liked them, thought they drove well, but they just felt so like cheap and flimsy, and it felt like a kit car, and this doesn't feel that way. It feels like a very well put together car, but it gives you that same Viper driving experience. Pretty amazing how quick and light the front end feels when you have a massive V10 up there. Like, the turn-in is so instant, it feels really good. It's not unlike the turn-in on a mid-engine car, and that's really a pretty big feat, again, when you have a massive V10 in front of you. Spinning though. Wow, I love that sound. Now, in the upload from last night, or whenever I upload this, I said, you know, it kind of sounds like a Lambo, and a lot of people were like, no, it doesn't. It pretty much, it's got, I mean, they're both V10s, and they both have a similar architecture, so they do kind of sound alike, but I wasn't saying that I wanted it to sound just like a Lambo. I like it that it's unique, you know, I like it that it's a Viper V10, not a Lambo. I'm just saying that I haven't heard that many Vipers. However, I have been around a lot of Lambos. That's what it reminded me of, like, right away, that V10 shriek. It's a great sound. I haven't driven the Viper before, except for driving it home. Like, as you're watching the videos, that's all real time. So this is literally, this is actually my first drive in the car, like on a back road. So we'll see how it goes. Is it scary to drive the Viper? Am I afraid of it? No. You know, I think it's a great car, and I think it handles well. It's like anything, you have to respect it, you know, just like the Hellcat or anything else. And I'm not gonna start off here driving like crazy because I don't know the car yet. As I learn the car, I'll drive it harder. But I don't think no car is scary. It all comes down to the driver. You know, cars don't crash themselves. Oh my God, it sounds just incredible. I mean, it's gnarly. It's a gnarly machine. And I love the way when you get close to redline, the tack lights up like a Viper, like the Viper logo in red. That's really cool. Oh my God, guys. mentioned briefly in the delivery upload, and that is, why didn't more people buy Vipers? And everyone has an opinion. Everyone says, well, you know, it was too expensive, or they only offered it in a manual and the gas mileage was bad and it wasn't practical and it wasn't comfortable and blah, blah, blah. And I agree with all of those things, honestly. I think if they did offer an automatic, they would have sold more. If it was 20 or 30 grand cheaper, they would have sold more. Now, I don't know what the original MSRP of this car was, but I think for 80 grand, it's a great deal now. I think for 80, again, if you like cars and you're just a driver and you love driving and you want a raw driving experience, I think this car for 80 grand is a great deal, and they're holding value pretty well. But if this car was brand new, if it was like 110, 120, then I agree, yeah, that was too much. But all those things I think you could get past. I mean, like gas mileage. A lot of people say, well, you know, it gets horrible gas mileage. The people buying a Viper don't really care about the gas mileage. If you're buying a Viper, a Corvette, a Porsche, a Lambo, McLaren, whatever, you can afford the gas. So I don't think that was it either. And it's not a big car, it's not that practical, but it's practical enough. It's comfortable, it's got a pretty big trunk, it's got cup holders, like it's practical enough for people. So I don't think that was it. The old ones, I will agree, they were not very safe. They were kind of difficult to drive, not comfortable, not nice inside. I already said that. But the new one it's very easy, it's very comfortable, it's got all the modern stuff. It's not like cheap, you know, no, it's not like plastic, it's nice leather. So that's not it. I think it's a combo of a lot of those factors, but I think mainly it's the Viper doesn't have the name, and it doesn't have the complete chronological continued history of a car like the Corvette or a 911 or whatever. You know, I think the people spending 120 on a car or 100 on a car, it's in that market where you either want an exotic or you want a Corvette or something like that. You're fine with a 911 or a Corvette, or you want to spend a little more and you want to get like a Lambo. You want the Lambo, you want the Ferrari, you want a McLaren, whatever it is. And the Viper isn't really that. The Viper is kind of like a Corvette, just a lot more expensive and a lot more, it is more exotic. And in my opinion, more like neat and more interesting, even though I love Corvettes, but the Viper is, you know, very different. But I think that a lot of people in that market, in that price range, would either want like the full enchilada and just go like complete Lamborghini, whatever, or they'd be fine with a Corvette. So the Viper kind of exists in this no man's land, and without that name, you know, the Vette has been around forever, and it has sold continuously forever. The Viper hasn't. You know, your grandpa didn't have a Viper. You know, your dad didn't have a Viper. Your friend's dad didn't have a Viper. Your friend's grandpa, you know, you didn't grow up with a Viper, but you did grow up with a Corvette. Somebody you know has a Corvette. Somebody you know has an old Corvette, a really cool old one that you really like. You know, your dad had one, your grandpa had a Corvette. Everyone grew up with Corvettes because they were attainable, and everyone had, you know, everyone's got a, if you want a Corvette and you have a decent paying job, you can buy a Corvette, and maybe not a brand new Corvette, but you can get, there's a Corvette for you no matter what your price range is, and they're all really good. That's the good news is they're all neat. I had a C4 that I bought for $2 grand and I loved it. And the Viper just doesn't have that heritage, you know, it just isn't out there enough. So people like them, but they forget about them. Sadly, just not enough people are diehard Viper fans to spend that money on a Dodge. And if you're not a Viper fan, you wouldn't really think of this car, and that's the problem. And I think that's really what did it in. Was there ever hope for the new Viper, or was it doomed? And I think there was. I think if they would have made it a little cheaper, and if it would have been offered with an auto, if they could have found a way to make it work with that 8-speed ZF auto, I think they would have sold a lot more, and I think it would be probably still around. I think it would have sold, because everyone loves to talk about manuals and manual this and manual that, and I love manuals too. But the numbers don't lie. People talk a big game, but nobody buys them. You look at Corvettes, like 80-something% of Corvette sales are automatics, 80%. So what, you know, people love to talk about, oh, manual this, manual that, but nobody freaking buys them. And everyone's got an excuse, you know, oh, you know, I have to sit in traffic, and I get it. I have an automatic Corvette. But when it comes to sales, if you're not gonna offer an auto, that's gonna really hurt you. That is great. So for people like me, you know, the diehards that my whole life is cars and I don't need a practical vehicle, and you know, I'm just here to have a good time. This car works great, but it can't appeal to the masses, and it doesn't have that name where people say, oh yeah, you know, I know somebody who had one of those and I want to get one of those one day. Just not enough people know about them. Oh my God, ripping. Absolutely ripping. I'll tell you what the first drive has taught me, boys, and that is I got a lot more to learn about the Viper, and I can't wait. I can't wait. We're gonna have a great time. Something else neat about this car, it is VIN number 70. Look at that, VIN number 70. Pretty early car. The 70th 5th gen Viper built. That's pretty sweet. And the hood latch is somewhere in here that I didn't know about. I don't know, I'll figure it out. I don't know where it's at, actually. Is it right? Is that it? Feel it now? That's the, no? No? There it is. There it is. $18,000 carbon fiber hood. The biggest hood I've ever seen in my life. That's really cool. The Viper, it's like I said, it's so unique, it's so different. I really like it. It's got so many quirks and features. No wonder Doug loves Vipers. That's about all I got for you. If you enjoyed this upload, don't forget to give it a big old thumbs up. Take care and have a great night, guys.